Meghan's making it particularly worse for him.
A wave of renewed media attention has emerged after a former British journalist claimed to hold what he describes as evidence suggesting a long-standing association between Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew, reportedly dating back more than 20 years. Shortly after the interview aired, select clips began circulating widely online, prompting extensive discussion across major news outlets and social media platforms. Reports suggest that King Charles has been briefed on the matter. According to palace insiders cited by various publications, a private meeting was allegedly held to review events said to have taken place in the early 2000s. Accounts reference a high-profile social gathering, followed by mentions of private meetings and overseas travel, details that remain unverified and continue to be the subject of speculation. Representatives for Meghan Markle have responded firmly. Her legal team reportedly issued cease and desist letters, emphasizing that the claims are false and potentially defamatory. Legal experts note that such actions are standard when public figures believe unverified stories are gaining traction online. Despite the legal intervention, debate surrounding the claims has persisted. Commentators remain divided. Some view the allegations as unfounded rumors, while others argue that the attention reflects the ongoing public fascination with the royal family and their complex relationships. Inside Buckingham Palace, sources describe a sense of concern over the renewed focus on past controversies. Observers note that King Charles continues to face pressure as discussions about transparency and privacy within the monarchy resurface. The journalist behind the claims, a former royal correspondent who reportedly fell out of favor with the palace in the early 2000s, maintains that his findings warrant public attention. However, no independent verification of the alleged evidence has been produced, and major networks have yet to confirm any connection between the parties involved. As of now, these claims remain unconfirmed. The situation highlights the ongoing tension between public interest, media coverage, and the privacy of those within the royal sphere. According to recent media coverage, the resurfaced claims have prompted renewed reflection on events dating back to the early 2000s. At that time, Prince Andrew was a prominent working royal frequently undertaking international engagements, while Meghan Markle was building her acting career in the United States. Public records from that period do not indicate any confirmed connection between the two, though commentators have speculated about possible overlaps in social circles. In light of Prince Andrew's withdrawal from public duties following the Epstein controversy, royal observers suggest that any renewed allegations, whether substantiated or not, are likely to draw heightened scrutiny. Reports indicate that palace officials are monitoring how the story is being circulated, particularly across digital platforms. King Charles, who has navigated decades of intense media attention, is said to be approaching the situation cautiously. While no official statement has been issued regarding the specific claims, sources describe a measured internal response focused on assessing reputational impact. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle, now based in California following her departure from royal duties in 2020, has continued to maintain a public profile centered on media projects and advocacy work. Her representatives have strongly denied the recent allegations, characterizing them as unfounded. As discussion continues online and in the press, the claims remain unverified, leaving observers to interpret the situation based on the limited publicly available information. As British tabloids continued publishing prominent headlines about the allegations, reports suggest that Meghan Markle and her team were closely monitoring the coverage. Observers note that public figures often face a strategic choice in such moments: respond immediately or allow the news cycle to unfold before taking action. In this case, there was no instant personal statement, and representatives instead appeared to assess the broader media landscape. Commentators have pointed out that in today's digital environment, silence can be interpreted in different ways. Online discussions expanded quickly, with social media platforms amplifying unverified claims and opinion-based commentary. As is often the case, speculation began circulating widely despite the absence of confirmed evidence. In the United Kingdom, palace sources cited by various outlets describe a similarly cautious approach. King Charles is said to be focused on maintaining institutional stability while privately reviewing the situation. No official announcement has indicated the launch of any formal inquiry, though royal aides are reportedly tracking how the story is developing. Analysts note that moments like this highlight the tension between reputation management and public curiosity. With limited verified information available, much of the narrative continues to be shaped by media interpretation rather than confirmed facts. According to media reports, internal reviews of archived records from the early 2000s were conducted to assess the claims being circulated. Sources familiar with the process have suggested that the initial findings did not uncover verifiable documentation directly supporting the allegations. Much of the material referenced publicly appeared to rely on second-hand accounts rather than independently confirmed evidence. However, the conversation shifted when a low-resolution photograph began circulating widely on social media platforms. The image, reportedly taken on a yacht during the early digital camera era, shows Prince Andrew standing near a woman who some online users claim resembles Meghan Markle. Due to the image quality and lack of verified context, including date, location, and confirmed identities, major news organizations have approached it cautiously. As the photo spread across platforms such as X and Instagram, online debate intensified. Some commentators treated the image as significant, while others questioned its authenticity and raised the possibility of misidentification or digital alteration. Supporters of Meghan Markle have emphasized the need for forensic verification before drawing conclusions. Media analysts note that viral imagery can quickly influence public perception, even when details remain unclear. At this stage, no authoritative source has confirmed the identity of the individual in the photograph, leaving the matter open to interpretation. As online debate intensified, supporters and critics voiced sharply different reactions across social media platforms. Some users viewed the circulating photograph as significant, while others dismissed it as misleading or potentially manipulated. The volume of commentary made it difficult to separate verified information from speculation. Reports indicate that Meghan Markle and her legal advisors responded quickly. According to public statements, her team began consulting with law firms in both the United Kingdom and the United States to evaluate possible legal options. Representatives have maintained that the claims connected to the image are unfounded and damaging. At the same time, digital imaging specialists and independent commentators continued analyzing the photograph, debating whether it shows signs of alteration or whether it may involve mistaken identity. As of now, no official forensic conclusion has been released by an authoritative body. Media analysts note that in high-profile cases, public perception can shift rapidly once imagery enters the conversation, regardless of verification status. With legal teams engaged and online discussion ongoing, the situation remains centered on competing interpretations rather than confirmed findings. As media coverage intensified, reports indicate that Meghan Markle's legal representatives issued formal notices to several outlets and online accounts, requesting corrections and the removal of content they describe as defamatory. Legal analysts note that such measures are common when public figures seek to challenge disputed claims. Meghan later released a brief video statement addressing the controversy. In the recording, she firmly denied any connection to the circulated yacht photograph, describing it as manipulated and part of what she characterized as a coordinated effort to damage her reputation. The statement was presented in a composed and direct manner, emphasizing her position without elaborating on specific legal strategies. Prince Harry appeared alongside her at a previously scheduled public event shortly afterward. Observers noted that he expressed support for his wife while reiterating concerns about media scrutiny. Commentators have pointed out that the renewed mention of Prince Andrew in public discussion adds additional sensitivity given past controversies. Public reaction has remained divided. Some viewers accepted Meghan's explanation and called for caution against spreading unverified material, while others continued to question the circumstances surrounding the image. As of now, no independent authority has confirmed the photograph's authenticity or context. Public reaction remained divided as debate continued across media platforms. While some commentators argued that unanswered questions still lingered, others urged caution against drawing conclusions without verified evidence. Buckingham Palace did not release a public statement addressing the circulating claims, maintaining its usual approach of limited comment on speculative reporting. Sources cited in coverage suggest that palace officials continued monitoring developments privately. A significant shift occurred when a London tabloid reported that the woman shown in the widely shared yacht photograph was likely not Meghan Markle. After reviewing archival material from early 2000s advertising campaigns, the outlet identified a Canadian model who reportedly appeared in promotional content for a luxury yacht brand around the same period. According to the publication, the resemblance may have contributed to the confusion. Following that report, several outlets updated their coverage, noting the possible misidentification. Supporters of Meghan Markle viewed the development as validation of earlier claims that the image had been misleading. However, commentators also observed that while the photograph's origins may have been clarified, broader discussions about the initial allegations continued in some circles. As with many high-profile controversies, questions, denials, and interpretations have unfolded simultaneously, leaving audiences to assess the available information for themselves. Some outlets have reported that King Charles sought further clarification regarding the claims by engaging privately with the former journalist who first made the allegations. While no official confirmation of such a meeting has been issued, commentators have speculated that informal discussions may have taken place as part of broader efforts to assess the situation. According to the journalist's public account, the alleged events did not occur on a yacht, as suggested by the disputed photograph, but rather at a private dinner held in the early 2000s at a residence near London. He described a woman present at the gathering whose appearance, he claimed, resembled Meghan Markle. However, he stopped short of providing definitive identification or verifiable documentation to support the assertion. The journalist also referenced what he characterized as exclusive access and private engagements involving prominent figures of the time. These details, however, remain uncorroborated by independent sources. As with earlier aspects of the controversy, the reported conversation, if it occurred, has not been publicly documented. Without confirmed evidence, the claims remain part of an ongoing media narrative shaped largely by competing accounts rather than established fact. In his public comments, the former journalist described alleged private meetings and discreet encounters that he claimed took place during visits to Europe in the early 2000s. He suggested that certain travel timelines appeared, in his view, to overlap. However, he acknowledged that he does not possess documentary evidence, photographs, or official records to substantiate these assertions. His account relies primarily on personal recollection and conversations he says occurred at the time. Observers note that the absence of verifiable proof places the claims in a complex category, difficult to confirm, yet persistent in public discussion. According to media reports, King Charles has approached the situation cautiously, seeking clarity while refraining from public commentary. Analysts often point out that in matters involving high-profile individuals, unproven allegations can generate ongoing attention regardless of evidentiary support. In this case, the journalist's inability to provide tangible documentation has left the narrative largely dependent on interpretation rather than confirmed fact. As the story continues to circulate, the central issue remains the same. Without independently verified evidence, the claims stand as allegations, leaving audiences to weigh credibility against the lack of substantiation. According to media commentary, Prince Harry was kept informed about developments as discussions unfolded in the United Kingdom. Reports suggest that King Charles communicated directly with him to outline the claims raised by the former journalist and the broader response taking place behind the scenes. No official details of their private conversations have been released. Commentators have speculated that the situation may have placed strain on an already complex family dynamic. The allegations reference travel timelines and social settings from the early 2000s, though, as previously noted, no documentary evidence has been presented publicly to substantiate those claims. Analysts observing the situation note that when unverified accounts resurface, they can prompt renewed scrutiny of past events, even if those events were previously regarded as routine or unrelated. Public figures often face renewed examination of earlier periods in their lives when controversies emerge. At this stage, there is no confirmed information indicating any change in position from either Prince Harry or Meghan Markle beyond the formal denials already issued. As with other aspects of this story, much of the narrative remains shaped by interpretation and media discussion rather than independently verified findings. As media coverage continued, commentators speculated about how the controversy might be affecting Prince Harry and Meghan Markle privately. No verified information has been released regarding their personal discussions, and public appearances have remained limited to previously scheduled engagements and formal statements. Observers noted that Meghan did not issue additional remarks beyond her earlier denial, a decision some interpreted as strategic restraint while legal and media responses unfolded. Analysts often point out that public figures may choose limited communication during legal disputes to avoid escalating attention. International coverage has reflected a clear divide. Some outlets revisited elements of Meghan's early career and travel history, examining timelines referenced in the allegations. Others emphasized the lack of documentary evidence and cautioned against drawing conclusions from unverified claims. Brand analysts have also suggested that ongoing controversy can influence partnerships and public perception, though no official announcements have indicated confirmed business consequences. In the United Kingdom, King Charles has not commented publicly on the matter. Royal correspondents report that palace officials continue to monitor developments while maintaining their standard policy of limited response to speculative reporting. As the story evolves, much of the narrative remains driven by interpretation rather than independently confirmed facts, leaving audiences to evaluate the information available. Commentators have suggested that if verifiable evidence were ever to emerge regarding the allegations, it would likely prompt a formal response from relevant institutions. For now, however, no such proof has been presented publicly. As often happens in the digital news cycle, attention gradually shifted to other major stories. Several outlets later published updates clarifying questions surrounding the widely shared yacht photograph, noting reports of possible misidentification. While those corrections were covered, media analysts observed that follow-up reports typically generate less engagement than the original claims. Meghan Markle subsequently appeared at scheduled public engagements, including charity events and online initiatives. Observers noted a measured and composed public presence, consistent with someone navigating heightened scrutiny. Her representatives have maintained earlier denials, and no additional detailed statements have been issued. Prince Harry has also continued attending public appearances. Commentators have offered varying interpretations of his demeanor, though such assessments remain subjective and based solely on public footage. At this stage, the broader controversy appears to have quieted, though discussions persist in some media circles. As with previous developments, the central facts remain limited to publicly available statements and unverified claims, leaving the overall narrative open to individual interpretation. In the weeks following the controversy, commentators noted subtle shifts in public appearances and media narratives surrounding both Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Some analysts suggested that heightened scrutiny can lead public figures to limit visibility or focus more heavily on personal projects, though no official statements indicated any significant change in direction. In the United Kingdom, Buckingham Palace resumed its regular schedule of engagements. Royal correspondents observed that while public duties continued as planned, discussions within media circles reflected ongoing awareness of the recent allegations. As with many high-profile controversies, the broader impact appeared to center more on public perception than on confirmed developments. Observers have also pointed out that in the digital era, reputation is often shaped as much by interpretation as by documented fact. Even when specific claims lack verification, the conversation surrounding them can influence how individuals and institutions are viewed. Reports indicate that palace officials have since concluded their internal review without issuing detailed public findings. With no new evidence presented, the situation has gradually receded from headline prominence, though it remains part of the wider media discourse surrounding the royal family. As the immediate headlines faded, several media analysts began examining how the controversy had unfolded. Discussions shifted from the specific allegations to broader questions about misinformation, digital amplification, and the speed at which unverified material can shape public debate. Journalism commentators noted that viral imagery and anonymous sourcing often complicate efforts to establish clear timelines or factual certainty. Within royal reporting circles, attention turned to institutional response strategies. Buckingham Palace maintained its long-standing approach of avoiding detailed comment on speculative claims. Observers suggested that this restraint is designed to prevent prolonging news cycles, particularly when allegations lack substantiated evidence. In California, Meghan Markle continued participating in previously announced projects, including charitable initiatives and media ventures. Public appearances were measured, with messaging focused on professional commitments rather than addressing the controversy further. Industry analysts observed that brands and public figures often prioritize consistency during reputational challenges, allowing legal processes and media corrections to unfold independently. Meanwhile, independent fact-checking organizations published explainers outlining what had and had not been verified. These summaries emphasized that key elements of the journalist's account remained unsupported by documentary proof. The result was a narrative increasingly defined by ambiguity rather than confirmation. Over time, public conversation moved toward reflection rather than accusation. Commentators across political and entertainment platforms debated the responsibilities of media outlets, when reporting on claims rooted primarily in personal recollection. Some argued that even unproven allegations warrant scrutiny. Others stressed the potential harm of amplifying assertions without clear evidence. Royal historians also weighed in, noting that controversies involving members of the monarchy often become case studies in how modern institutions navigate transparency, privacy, and public expectation. They pointed out that the digital landscape has fundamentally altered how quickly narratives form and how difficult they can be to correct once widely circulated. For Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, official communication remained limited to previously issued denials. No new documentation or verified material emerged to substantiate the original claims. Similarly, no formal findings were publicly released by palace officials beyond general indications that internal assessments had taken place. By the time the news cycle shifted fully to other global events, the episode had become another example of how speculation, imagery, and interpretation can intersect in high-profile public life, leaving behind questions, but few confirmed answers. In closing, this episode illustrates how past events, whether fully documented or not, can resurface in unexpected ways. In today's digital environment, even unverified claims can travel widely and influence public perception before formal clarification is available. Reputations, particularly those tied to public institutions and global media figures, are often shaped not only by confirmed facts, but also by the conversations that surround them. Throughout the controversy, Meghan Markle's limited public response drew mixed interpretations. Some commentators have described her restraint as a strategic decision, consistent with legal guidance often given during disputes involving potential defamation. Others have questioned whether silence leaves room for speculation to grow. As with many high-profile situations, the absence of detailed public comment can be viewed in different ways depending on perspective. At this stage, no independently verified evidence has substantiated the central allegations discussed in this series. What remains is a broader conversation about media responsibility, public scrutiny, and the challenges of navigating reputation in a rapidly shifting information landscape. What do you think? Was the decision to limit public comment a calculated legal and communication strategy? Or did it unintentionally deepen public curiosity? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, consider subscribing to the channel for balanced, in-depth coverage of major public stories.